All right, so let's get right into it.
Now for something a little different, and from inside the White House, we have a special guest joining us now, the 46th President of the United States and presumptive Democratic nominee Joe Biden, calling in to Morning Joe right now. Good morning, sir.
Hey, Mika, I'm more than presumptive.
Oh my God, he sounds fucking terrible. He sounds fucking terrible. How do they fail so badly in this? Okay, let's back it up. It was the first second I paused because it was so bad.
And presumptive Democratic nominee Joe Biden, calling in to Morning Joe right now. Good morning, sir.
Hey, Mika, I'm more than presumptive. I'm going to be the Democratic nominee.
There you go.
Okay, well, that's what presumptive means. I'm going to be a thing. That's what we presume will happen. Presumptive Democratic nominee. You're not the Democratic nominee yet. You're the presumptive. So you're not more the presumptive. You're presumptive, because that's what presumptive means, you stupid fuck. I really don't like Joe Biden, and I know this is a minor issue, and I'm losing it over him, but he's so fucking stupid. I hate this piece of shit.
Well, Mr. President, that leads to the letter that we just received a few minutes ago. And I'm curious, there's a part of it where you talk about the fact that you got 14 million votes, 87% of the vote. It was an open process. You only had 3 people running against you. You have 3,900 delegates. And then you ask this question, do we now just say the process didn't matter, that the voters didn't have a say? I'm curious, is that an allusion also to Donald Trump and the fact that Democrats, you believe, may now be doing the same thing that Donald Trump tried to do in 2020, and that is overthrow the popular will of Democratic voters?
Well, look.
Now, this is what's really... I really like this. This is what I call gall. This is what I call gall. What everybody would call gall. You don't have a primary. You shut it down. I think Florida canceled theirs outright. You had no presidential debates. You shut down everything. You made sure that there was no oxygen for anybody who wanted to challenge Biden, even if they were qualified. I don't particularly like Dean Phillips, but he was a longtime congressman. He is a successful business owner. You know, he owns Talenti Gelato. I'm sure every single person in this chat has had Talenti Gelato, okay? So it's not like he was completely unqualified. It's in every single grocery store. If you haven't had it, wow, that's surprising. But okay. You just don't like gelato then, I guess. They gave that guy, they shat on that guy, humiliated him, never even gave him a chance. And there was massive votes for uncommitted in many swing states as a protest vote against Biden, mostly because of the Gaza genocide. And then they're going to turn around after shutting it down, tamping it down, and going, oh, it's the will of the people. Now, let me just say this. If you go to any polling, it says 74% of Americans think Joe Biden is mentally unfit to be president. Mentally unfit. Now, a majority of Americans say the same thing about Donald Trump. It's like 55 or something. Okay. You have a candidate who half of the Democrats don't think is fit. What is your logic that this is Democratic? They say it's Democratic because some states ran basically North Korean primaries where there's only one candidate on the ballot. Actually, I think North Korean elections are more fair than the Democratic Party primary this year. There is zero. Fuchsia says the Democrats can't mobilize enough of the left to win with Biden on the ticket. And they can't win with enough independents to cross the gap with Trump because Biden is too old. He has zero shot. I'll say this once and I'll say it twice. Republicans fall in line. Democrats fall in love. if you try to make the Democratic Party operate like the Republican Party, you're gonna lose. And here's the thing about Kamala Harris. I don't particularly like her. I don't like her. I definitely don't like whoever she would pick for vice president. But here's the reality. Here's the reality that we're facing. Either it's going to be Kamala Harris, most likely, or it's going to be Joe Biden. Joe Biden equals Donald Trump. Now, I want to say something else. Right now, any of the arguments against replacing Joe Biden are instantly parried by Kamala Harris, okay? The money, she gets to keep it. It was a joint pact. When you talk about name recognition, she has it. When you're talking about, racial and ethnic minorities, she does it better than an old white man. She performs better with them. If you're talking about young people, are you talking about so basically, Kamala Harris parries any kind of objection centrists have. But here's the joyous secret. If Joe Biden steps down, it's a whole new ball game. So for the time being, I'll be K-Hive. I'll pretend to support Kamala Harris. It doesn't matter, because the moment Joe Biden is out, Joe Biden is out. Our number one goal right now is to get Joe Biden out of the race. I'll say I support fucking Megatron if it gets Joe Biden out of the race. All right? Let's get the genocidal Joe out before it's too late. Would you vote for a Harris Bernie Sanders VB ticket? Yes. Would that be a guaranteed win? I mean, yeah, that would be great. I mean, I don't know that Bernie Sanders is going to be able to be on the ticket after you throw Biden out for being old. You know what I mean? Bernie Sanders is older than Biden. I don't feel like that would really fly. My personal belief is if I just sold out and became a Democratic Party elite, my ticket would be Harris Pritzker. Why would I do that? Number one, Pritzker is a governor of a blue state, so it's not, if you take like Josh Shapiro out of Pennsylvania, or you take Gretchen Whitmer out of Michigan, or you take Raphael Warnock out of Georgia, or you take Brashear out of Kentucky, like you're taking people that can't easily be replaced, and you're creating a whole bunch of risk for swing state positions. And the Democrats need Warnock as a senator in Georgia. You can't get rid of him. He'll be replaced by a Republican, thereby losing the Senate. You can't do that. So I personally think Pritzker would be the key. Also, let's be honest, he's a white man. You're literally just pulling the Obama 2008 playbook. You have a white man as the backup politician for the black president at the top of the ticket. I mean, this is what worked in 2008. I think it's pretty solid with as a easy, quick solution. And here's the thing about Pritzker. As I've said before, he's been effective. He's been an effective governor of Illinois. He's cut through the bullshit. He gerrymandered Illinois, which is the only reason why the Democrats have any shot of taking the House. He has not been punching left as part of his kind of generic program. And that is just way, way, way better than somebody like, Gretchen Whitmer. And I know Josh Shapiro personally, and I don't like him. And so let's just put it that way. Soon to be former North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper is being considered. Oh God, I don't like Roy Cooper. He's a loser. Shapiro and Pritzker fit the logic of successful Democratic playbooks. Yeah. I don't like Cooper. He's a fucking loser. I see the logic, but I don't think North Carolina is really a good state to go for. Nah. I don't think a Southerner is a good idea. Like that's Democratic Party in 1970 logic, not now. The all-in guys have figured it out.
My advice to the Democrats is to embrace an outsider. Give the people.
Oh my God. I can't believe this podcast has so many followers. That actually is blackmailing. Okay, let's keep watching.
Democrat, Joe, let me say it this way. The reason I've been out on the road so much all over the country, and while Trump is riding around in his golf cart, filling out his golf cart before he even hits the ball. But anyway, he hadn't been anywhere in 10 days. I've been all over the country, number one.
Oh my God. Oh my God. So relatable. A golf joke. I mean, I guess he knows where he is, Morning Joe, right?
My advice.
You know Hunter Biden is smuggling in the good shit right now. Is he on a speakerphone at a public restaurant with that audio? Why didn't they just have him call in on Zoom or something? Get really good audio and then play it. They literally have him on the phone. Why? Like they don't have to have video. Just have him call in with Zoom with audio only and then just put that graphic up and have clear audio. They have him literally on like what, a shitty connection cell phone? Like, God, you can't even hear his shit. And that's like one of the biggest problems with his appearances is his audio is so terrible because he's so old, he can't speak clearly anymore. Remind me why Trump had to take a cognitive test and why Biden doesn't. Trump didn't have to take anything. He just took it as part of a normal physical. You think this fucking dinosaur is qualified to operate a computer at all? No. I never would say that he would do it, but he's the president of the United States. He has butlers, man. Like, do you understand how many jobs are surrounding the president of the United States? How many flunkies that you get? Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Make some audio adjustments. He raises he has hundreds of millions of dollars in the bank for his campaign. Like, Jesus fucking Christ.
And I've gone over the country for several reasons. One, to make sure my instinct was right about the party still wanting me to be the nominee. And all the data shows that the average Democrat out there who voted, the 14 million of them that voted for me, still want me to be the nominee, number one. Number two, the idea that Donald Trump has gained in any substantial way, has his argument to why he should be president is anywhere convincing than it was 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago. It's just not there, and we're just starting to focus on Trump. And look,
okay, so I was told that there was plenty of time. So this is so funny. Like last year, when I was like, Joe Biden is a terrible candidate, he should drop out. People would say to me, "Oh, there's so much time left," and I'd be like, "No, there's not. No, there's fucking not. He's locked in. He's baked in. What are you talking about, man?" And yet people argued with me. "Oh yeah, wait till next year." Well, next year came. Then it was wait till the summer, and then the summer came, and then it was like, well, they haven't even really started to. They haven't really started.
I attended services, spoke to over 600 people at Mount Airy Church of God in Christ in Philly.
600, wow.
I stopped by campaign field offices with John Fetterman and Madeline Dean, both strongly supporting me. The president and the first lady, we spoke at a campaign ice cream social for APSME, Council 13 in Harrisburg. 40 minutes after we spoke with supporters, stopped by Denim Coffee. I mean, I was with the governor of Pennsylvania, who's still strongly supporting me. I mean, so look, and the fact is that this week, I'm going to be hosting NATO Summit here in D.C., going to hold a press conference on Thursday. On Wednesday, I met with the National Union leaders of the AFL-CIO. On Friday, I traveled to Detroit, Michigan for a campaign event. Just on down the line. And so I'm not getting any of what I was told. I wanted to make sure I was right, that the average voter out there still wanted Joe Biden. And I'm confident they do. And I'm confident, and like I said, the press is with me. I think they've been fairly fair. I haven't read any reporting they did today. But the fact is that, I think they have to acknowledge we had large crowds, enthusiastic crowds. And, and now they're talking about whether I use a prompter. Well, I did it all extemporaneously. The fact of the matter is, I was using prompters too. I don't get that. But at any rate, the bottom line here is that we're not going anywhere. I am not going anywhere. I wouldn't be running if I didn't absolutely believe that I am the best candidate to beat Donald Trump in 2024. We had a Democratic nominating process where the voters spoke clearly. I won 14 million of those votes, et cetera. So I not only believe that from the beginning, but I wanted to reassert it and demonstrate that it's true. And I'm going to be doing that all through this week and from here on.
So we noted yesterday there was quite a contrast to the people that were supporting you yesterday compared to, say, a lot of the Washington insiders and Hollywood moguls, and go down the list.
It's so funny how all those people are wise. When they're telling you that you can't have change, those are the wise, intelligent statesmen that we need to listen to. But now that they're saying, wow, Joe Biden, and here's the thing, and I want to draw it back to this very important point. This isn't happening because these people just suddenly decided they hate Joe Biden. This is happening because Joe Biden manifestly lost the debate, had the worst debate performance in the history of debates against Donald Trump, and is losing to him in the polls. Now, I didn't call for John Fetterman to drop out when he was running against Dr. Oz. I should have, but I didn't. Why? Because he was winning in the polls. Up until like the last day or two, when some right-wing polls came out and showed a surge for Oz, and it became a toss-up. For the entire year, Fetterman was ahead. And you know what? Fetterman won a relatively comfortable victory, in line with what the polls had been showing for most of the year prior. Now, Donald Trump has been ahead of Joe Biden for the entire year. At a certain point, when he comes out and Joe Biden has a disastrous debate that he wanted, by the way, Joe Biden wanted a debate early. He picked the time. He picked the rules. Everything about that debate was Joe Biden's idea, and he humiliated himself. I'm reading from a list of lies, Biden says by phone at MSNBC. At around the 7-second mark, you can hear paper shuffling. He loses his train of thought before the papers settle again. Sure sounds like he just phoned in and read from a paper.
Except me and the folks out there in the local, race, he said, I did nothing to stop Russia's invasion of...
Notice how they shuffle uncomfortably? Yeah.
Of very powerful people that want you out compared to the support that you had in Pennsylvania yesterday. That said, there are a lot of people of goodwill who love you, who believe you did a great job in your first term, who are still concerned. Yesterday, the topic came up of the Stephanopoulos interview, where you were asked the question, how would you feel if Donald Trump beat you? How would you feel after you lost? And you said, well, as long as I did the best I could do, that's the most important thing. That's caused Democrats concern, who believe that losing is not an option. What would you say to those who are concerned by that answer?
It's not an option, and I've not lost. I haven't lost. I beat him last time. I'll beat him this time. And this is a guy who, look, we talk about debates. Look at his performance with debates. He lied over, Trump has 50 lies. Look, this is a guy who says 10% of the universe. I want to get into it. He's just.
What? What is he even saying? Liberal hubris drives me insane. I mean, honestly, this Morning Joe shit is so bad.
A liar, and he hadn't done a damn thing since the debate. He's been riding around in a golf cart for 10 days, was down in Mar-a-Lago talking with his wealthy friends. I'm not running because of these guys, Joe. I'm running because, and you know me well enough to know this from the very beginning, I ran because I never bought on in the trickle-down economic theory. I never bought into the notion that...
What? Yes, you did. You were one of the biggest neoliberals there ever was. You were the credit card company's personal senator. I mean, it was in Washington, D.C. Joe Biden was known as the credit card company's personal senator. This is oh yeah, guys, he never believed in it. Biden, this is from August 2008, so this isn't some sort of fucking Bernie thing. Biden's cozy relations with the bank industry. With Senator Joe Biden joining the Democratic ticket, there's renewed scrutiny of Biden's connection to the credit card industry. Biden has been particularly cozy with MBNA, a financial services company from Delaware and now a subsidiary of Bank of America. Over the past 20 years, MBNA has been Biden's single largest contributor. And as the New York Times and Wall Street Journal note, Biden's son Hunter was hired out of law school by MBNA and worked as a lobbyist for the company. Wow, what an amazing son you have there. The Times also details just how helpful Biden has been to the MBNA and credit card industry. The senator was a key supporter of the industry favorite bill, the Bankruptcy Abuse Prevention and Consumer Protection Act of 2005, that actually made it harder for consumers to get protection under bankruptcy. Biden was one of 5 Democrats in March 2005 who voted against the proposal to require credit card companies to provide more effective warnings to consumers about the consequences of paying only the minimum amount due each month. Mr. Obama voted for it. So he was the credit card. I mean, Hunter Biden chat. What a good guy.
Of Ukraine. In fact, he said, I think I encouraged Russia from going, I think he encouraged Russia going in. I mean, I'm reading from the list of lies. First of all, he was made up quote, suckers and losers. I was with, he called the Americans in the cemeteries from World War I suckers and losers. And so this guy's going to have to start to answer for what he did. I'm not letting, nobody said anything. Except me and the folks out there in the local, race. He said, I did nothing to stop Russia's invasion of Ukraine. In fact, he said, I think I encouraged Russia from going, I think he encouraged.
Every piece of media that's pushed at me to convince me that Joe Biden is competent is doing the opposite. I mean, this is why we watch Joe Biden stuff, guys. And I just want to say, how vindicated am I? Quick question for liberals that follow me. Just how low would Biden's numbers need to get before you would call for him to drop out? Is there any number? January 16th, 2024. Mike was right. Oh, you guys think Mike was right? You think Mike was right? Wait till you see how much I was right. Did you guys hear about the Hannibal doctrine shit that's coming out? Remember how I said that a significant portion of the civilians killed during October 7th were actually killed by Israel? It's pretty much been confirmed by Haaretz, like today. Oops. Remember when I said the genocide was going to be way more than the numbers that were coming out, about 30,000, because the entire medical system and health system of Gaza has been destroyed, and there are God knows how many people who have been killed and bodies rotten and abandoned and eaten by stray dogs and cats and other animals, and who are rotting and who are, blasted under rubble. Well, a Lancet study came out. They estimate 8% of Gazans have been killed, which is well over 180,000. Now, I don't say, oh, Mike was right about these. Wow, Mike was right. What I point out is using your rational brain, comparing what's going on in Gaza with previous conflicts, understanding that the numbers that tell you the things coming from health ministries require hospitals to be functional and ministries not to be attacked, and they were all demolished. So obviously the number of killed is astronomically more than the bodies we've actually counted. So don't worry, it's more things are coming out. Also, look what happened in France. The center stopped punching left. They still slightly punched left. I don't want to give Macron too much credit, but basically, the left united, and now they're the largest party in the parliament. If people just believed the world could be better and they dropped their boomer pessimism, we might get somewhere. Filibuster, thank you for the 21 months. Can you explain what any of that actually means? What? Explain what means. You got to ask better questions that are more precise. Tom like a Tom, thank you for the 20 tier ones. Let's fucking go. Updates for the Senate Dems. New Emerson poll. Oh, God, I hope it's terrible for Biden, please. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh, that's great. That's awesome. Oh, by the way, chat, did you see that Destiny debated Jank, Brianna Wu? Who else was it? Joe Walsh? I saw a screenshot of it on Twitter, and I laughed my ass off. It's like, how many grifters can you put into one room? And they're dumb as fuck. They're dumb as fuck. Did I cover France already? Nah, we're gonna have that as a palate cleanse. Don't worry. Right now, we're watching Joe Biden's flailing on MSNBC.
Hi, my name is Beau Biden, Attorney General of the state of Delaware. Here to talk to you about something that's very important to me and to my office: senior abuse, which falls into one of three categories: abuse, neglect, or financial exploitation. For every one of these types of Hi, my name is Beau Biden, Attorney General of the state of Delaware. Here to talk to you about something that's very important to me and to my office: senior abuse, which falls into one of three categories: abuse, neglect, or financial exploitation. For every one of these types of crimes that's reported to our office, 5 go unreported. But 2 million senior Americans are affected every year. And 80% of these crimes are committed by family members against their so-called loved one. We need your help. Seniors need your help. So if you suspect that anyone is affected by any of these crimes, please contact our elder abuse hotline at 1-800-223-9074. Thank you.
All right, hold on. Where would that go?
The state of Delaware. Attorney General of the state of Delaware. Here to talk to you about something that's very important to me and to my office, senior abuse, which falls into one of three categories: abuse, neglect, or financial exploitation. For every one of these types of crimes that's reported to our office, 5 go unreported. But 2 million senior Americans are affected every year. And 80% of these crimes are committed by family members against their so-called loved one. We need your help. Seniors need your help. So if you suspect that anyone is affected by any of these crimes, please.
And post. And post. And post. And post.
We have to walk away from the rest
if you guys
of the
want to
world
tag
in
more,
the cave
if you have more people I should have tagged, go ahead and do it in the replies. Go ahead and do it in the replies.
Putin or anybody else. I've never believed any of that.
And Darklock, I
I'm
even this here
confident
too.
that's what the American people are. So what I did was I went out and I wanted to make sure that there wasn't any slippage at all. And with the average voter, I don't care what the millionaires think. And by the way, 97% of all the people who contribute to us are people making under 200, contributing under $200. I think we have the largest.
Wait, he just said 97% of the people donated us make under contributing under $200. Always wreck. Thank you for the 42 months.
Contingent ever in history. I'm not positive of that, but I think that's true. And so I want their support. But
this is not AI. AI sounds a lot better than this, guys.
Not the reason I'm running. I'm not running about what they think and what they care about. And by the way, you don't see a whole hell of a lot of them flocking to Trump. You don't see a whole lot of CEOs flocking to Trump. You don't see any. You see the major economists out there talking about what I have been able to do. I don't hear anybody talking about his economic plan likely to bring America around and keep America first. And by the way, here's Trump talking about all that he's done and you know, Trump and his debate night. He's a pathological liar. He lied about Roe. He refused to accept the outcome of the election. He refused to condemn January 6th. And he says, they claim, he spoke with Putin before he invaded. What the hell are we doing, Joe? What are we doing? This is bizarre.
Yeah. It's a good question. I have a few questions, Mr. President, and I know you know where I stand. And yet I have a few questions. First, it's very simple. How can you assure the American people that you won't have another night like the one you did in Atlanta?
I'm glad to see that, James.
Look at
Gets you back to being a red-blooded, straight American again one day.
Career. I've not had many of those nights. It was a terrible night, and I really regret it happened. But the fact of the matter is, how can you assure you're going to be on you know, faith that can intervene on your way to go to, you know, work tomorrow? Age wasn't, you know, the idea I'm too old. Created over 15 million jobs, 21 million insured for the ACA, beat Big Pharma, relieved student debts for 5 million people, first black woman in the court. So I think I had a significant run, and that's how I'd measure me. Measure me what I've done. And by the way, in terms of my I
am measuring you on what you've done. And you've been a complete and utter failure. You've capitulated to the right. You've passed their immigration policies. You've passed a bipartisan infrastructure bill that spent money on highways instead of public transit and high-speed rail. You have aided and abetted a genocide in Gaza where over 180,000 people have been killed so far. You've managed to create a new Cold War with China. We had peaceful relations with China for decades, and now you're escalating us towards global conflict against a peer nation. Meanwhile, you've mismanaged our relations with Latin America. You've mismanaged our relations with Africa. You've mismanaged our relations with most of the world. We have a devastating war in Ukraine that you have prolonged and have killed, again, hundreds of thousands of people. What exactly have you done that has made Americans' lives better? The cost of living has gone up 60%. Housing is the most expensive it's ever been in my life. 40 years. The most expensive it's been since World War II. You've been a failure. Homelessness is at record levels. We just passed a full year of 1.5 degrees centigrade above the pre-industrial temperature. You have no plan for climate change. You have no plan for housing. You have no plan to maintain a peaceful and respectful world. You are a terrible president. If I were to rate Joe Biden's presidency out of 10, I would rate it a 0. I would say he's probably one of the worst presidents I've ever had in my life. Because it's not just what he didn't do with the trifecta. It is the fact that he set us up and he hasn't rose to the challenge of what needs to be done. It's one thing to get defeated because the forces against you make it impossible to win. Everybody understands that sometimes you can't win every battle, and I would never begrudge someone for losing a battle that was impossible to win. But at least fight. Where is Joe Biden on the Supreme Court? Has he called for it to be expanded? No. Has he called for admitting DC as a state? No. How is he not calling to admit DC as a state? The fact that that isn't a serious Democratic Party plank says everything you need to know, especially after January 6th, where because DC wasn't a state, they couldn't call in the National Guard. They didn't have the right to defend themselves against riots and coups. What is he doing? I give him credit for the IRA being one of the best pieces of legislation that a D has passed. That's delusional. It sucks. Stacy Pubs, thank you for the Prime Gaming. It's like, oh, we gave hundreds of billions of dollars of tax credits to privatize our fucking infrastructure. And with one hand, we were trying to subsidize green energy, but by the other, we're making it super expensive by slapping massive tariffs on electric vehicles and solar panels. No tariffs on plastic crap from Temu. You can buy all the plastic crap you want from Temu, but if you want a solar panel for your roof so you can afford to heat and cool your home and you can afford your electricity, fuck you, asshole. Oh, you want to have an affordable vehicle because vehicle prices have spiked out of control? Fuck you, asshole. Buy an internal combustion engine vehicle. Like, where's the public option? He ran on the public option and he never mentioned it again. He hasn't mentioned, he doesn't have a platform for 2024. He still doesn't even bother to have a platform. He's awful.
Logical capacity. I had a physical, a neurological physical as well in February. It's released. I released all my records. All of them. And I have a neurological test every single day. Try sitting behind this desk and making these decisions. You know it. Both of you know it. They know it. I'm not bad at what I do. And now, it doesn't mean I never make a mistake. I do. But I'm making those decisions.
Mr. President, if anybody in my family had a night like that, like if my Joe had a night like that, or my kids or anybody, I'd probably want to do some sort of workup and medical workup and make sure he's okay. Have you?
God damn it! Holy, this is his supposed. Oh my Lord in heaven! That was actually a tough question. Oof.
been tested for any age-related illnesses, pre-Parkinson's, or anything like that, that might explain sort of having a night like that where you couldn't finish sentences?
Look, I was feeling so badly before the debate. When I came back, they tested me for, I thought maybe I had COVID, maybe there was something wrong, I had an infection or something. They tested me, they gave me those tests, I was clear. So, but look, I had a bad night. But the fact of the matter is, look at what I'm doing. I mean, let me put it this way. If there was something that was wrong that night, it's not like it comes and that's one night and it goes away. That's why I've been out. I've been testing myself, been testing everywhere I go, going out and making the case. The night of that debate, I went out. I was out till 2 o'clock in the morning that very night. That very night, it drives me nuts, people talking about this. That very night, I'm talking to large crowds. Look at the crowds we've gathered everywhere from Atlanta to North Carolina to Pennsylvania, and look at the enthusiasm. But it was right after. Where the hell's Trump been? What has Trump said or done except deny and lie about what he's for?
Okay, so you have repeatedly said that all of these people and entities are wrong. And let me go through them. The New York Times editorial board, The Economist, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, the Boston Globe, Jerry Nadler, Seth Moulton. Let me go to Julian Castro, Tim Ryan, David Axelrod, David Remnick, Richard Haas. Yeah, I know which one you're responding to. These people and entities are wrong. And let me go through them. The New York Times editorial board, The Economist, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, the Boston Globe, Jerry Nadler, Seth Moulton. Let me go to Julian Castro, Tim Ryan, David Axelrod, David Remnick, Richard Haas.
Yeah, notice he didn't talk about the New York Times editorial board. He didn't talk about the Wall Street Journal. He didn't talk about all the. Why they hate David Axelrod is very fascinating. It's very funny because David Axelrod thought that Joe Biden would be a terrible president. Behind the scenes.
Yeah, I know which one you're responding to there. Zeke Emanuel. But they're saying that you should step aside. So what is your plan of attack moving forward? These are pretty big names.
To go out and keep doing their big names, but I don't care what those big names think. They're wrong.
I love my life, man. This is awesome, dude. This is awesome. This is so cool. We can't have a primary, you fucking peasants. We know who the right candidate is. Oh my God, he's dying. Okay, we want him out. I don't care what these big names say. I'm supporting the democracy that selected me. And it's like, he really is evil, man. He really is evil.
2020. They're wrong in 2022 about the red wave. They're wrong in 2024. And come out with me. Watch people react. You make a judgment. Make a judgment.
I mean, he's legitimately delusional. But I actually think this is good because I want him to get out more because he might die. Like, he's so old that he might actually die from the strain. Most of the time, he wakes up at like 10 a.m. He gets the morning briefing. He'll do maybe one event, and then he's done by the day by around 4. I think it might actually be good if he goes around and he starts like walking up and down steps and stuff. He's gonna fall, break his hip. You know, like this. He might like legitimately die from the strain.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, I'm going to have all these foreign leaders here. I've been in contact with the new British Prime Minister. Anyway, look, the country, the rest of the world is looking. Our allies are looking for U.S. leadership. Who else do you think could step in here and do this? I expanded NATO. I solidified NATO. Ask your brother about it in Poland. I made sure that we're in a position where we have a coalition.
His only scheduled event today is his morning briefing. Yeah, I know. He's the laziest president we've ever seen. Oh, he got his presidential brief at 10:45 this morning. Wow, it's because he was calling into Morning Joe, guys.
Coalition of people of the nations around the world to deal with China, with Russia, with everything that's going on in the world. We're making real progress. The Biden plan, which got in Israel for the Gaza Strip, is something that was adopted by the UN Security Council. Whether it comes to fruition, it's awful close. We'll see. G7's okay. But look, I'm not going to explain any more about what I should or shouldn't do. I am running. And if you want to stop me,
I'm not going to explain.
I wanted to ask you. It's so interesting. You talked about how
25th Amendment. Okay, here's the thing. We have the 25th Amendment. We need the 25th Amendment to be engaged. I mean, like, this is my personal opinion. After watching the interview on Morning Joe from President Biden, there should be a serious attempt to use the 25th Amendment to remove him from office. He's manifestly unfit. He's mentally mentally ill. He's only done 170 interviews at this point in his presidency, where Obama and Trump had done 500. Why not? They're free campaign ads because he isn't capable. Exactly. He didn't do a softball interview at the Super Bowl. Every year the Super Bowl has the president come on and he does a free softball interview. He said no. Like, I don't care what any of the evidence says.
2020 you won. There's supposed to be a huge wave in 2022. There wasn't. In 2023, Republicans were supposed to win.
That's not what it showed. That's not what the polls showed. The polls showed exactly what we got. The polls were right. The polls were historically accurate in 2022. We've updated our pollster rankings. Let's give a big round of applause to the pollsters. Measuring public opinion in as many ways harder than ever, and yet the polling industry just had one of the most successful election cycles in U.S. history. Despite a loud chorus of naysayers claiming that the polls were either underestimating Democratic support or biased yet again against Republicans, the polls were more accurate in 2022 than in any cycle since at least 1998, with almost no bias toward either party. We conclude that 2022 was a banner year for polling. It was the best year. The average polling error was 4.8. Now, 4.8 doesn't mean in one direction. It just means if you look at all the polling, 4.8. The weighted average errors of Senate gubernatorial races were only slightly lower than usual this year. Polling of the 2021-2022 cycle mostly owes its success to low error in House races. They just make up and spin narratives that are not based on any kind of reality.
when they didn't. You could say the same thing about France. Le Pen was supposed to win in 2 years.
Macron's party got fucking smashed. The far left one. That's it. It had nothing to do with Macron. Macron's party got smashed. They lost 90 seats. The far right did better than ever.
Years ago, she ended up getting crushed. Her party, her far right nationalist extreme party.
Somebody asked me what my it's just Vegas said. What's your favorite person? I don't care. At this point, my only focus is getting Joe Biden out. But if you look at the evidence, switching out Joe Biden on the polls right now, as it stands, is no worse than Joe Biden. And every single person, with the possible exception of Kamala Harris, has massive ability to they have massive upside because nobody knows who they are. But every single person is better than Joe Biden because they could go out there and they could stump. They have energy. They have the ability to communicate. They have the ability to actually embody the party. Joe Biden is sitting there rotting in the White House, Camp David, or his house in Delaware. He doesn't have the juice to campaign, and he's behind. Even so, by the way, Chad, if you want to know why 538's model shows a 50-50 race, is because this is not really a polling model. Polls are really downrated right now in their model. The reason why it's like this is because they think the economy is booming. So they're adding a pro Biden weight on this model because the economy, according to them, is booming. Now, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't call this a booming economy. What I would call this is, I would say speculatively, it's good for those that own assets. But as far as regular people, the cost of living is unsustainable. Housing is unsustainable. Homelessness is out of control. And it doesn't feel very prosperous. People are working, but they're not getting ahead. Okay? If you're working, but you're underwater every week, it doesn't matter that you have a job. You still feel like shit. That's what's happening. And if you look at this model, do you see this cliff? Do you see this cliff showing Biden winning 270, 271 right here? This is a significant chunk of Joe Biden's is based on this these models barely ticking to him winning by 270, 271, etc. This is not viable because every day we get closer to the election, the models evaluation of the economy becomes less important. It becomes more poll heavy. And look at the polls. Trump up, Trump up, Trump up, Trump, 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 Trump. Look at these polls. Trump, Trump, Trump. Look at these fucking polls. Look at these polls. Every single one shows Trump winning. So the 538 is not, and I'll say it again, the 538 thing is not actually polling average. It is a model, and even under the model, it shows Trump winning the majority of the time. If you want polling averages, you should be going to places that do polling averages. For example, if you go to Road to the White House, Race to the White House, excuse me. And it'll show you polling averages. Just do presidential election polls. Right now, it has Trump up. Trump is currently up. It's 46-44. Dem lead of 2. Or excuse me, GOP lead of 2. This is also... And there you go. You can see the debate effect. This is the debate effect. So not only is Joe Biden down, the momentum is against him. And look at these polling. Look at this polling. Look at this polling. Look at this fucking polling. And right now, even assuming that Biden wins Wisconsin and Michigan, he's still losing to Trump right now because he's lost Arizona, Nevada, Georgia, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is slipping away. There's no way that Joe Biden loses Pennsylvania and wins Michigan. It's not going to happen. Completely batshit.
Supposed to win yesterday. They ended up getting crushed. I'm curious, what message do you take from the French elections and the British elections? Because we keep hearing about the rise of far-right nationalist extremism in Europe. But I've got to say, it looks like this past week has been the worst week for far-right nationalists between Britain and France. I'm wondering what you say about that.
I mean, like, I want to say that this kind of analysis is why we're going to die. Because what happened in Britain is the Tory party split between the ultra-far right and the right wing. Because they had a brown man running as prime minister. And so the far right left the party and formed the Reform Party. But their share of the vote pretty much stayed stable if you look at that, if you combine the Tory and Reform. So right off the bat, there is one electoral path to victory for the right wing in Britain, and that is tack to the right, reunite the party, invite Nigel Farage into the Tory party, adopt his fucking immigration policies. And so now, and then instantly it's 40% to 34%. Yeah, it looks like Ryan Grimm, like it looks like The Intercept is falling apart, unfortunately. They're starting a new thing called Drop Site. The Intercept is cooked. Chuck Todd is now cooking Biden? Okay, let's keep going.
And what message you take to NATO allies this week?
Look, Joe, let's get something clear about 20 and 24. Not only were they wrong, I said they were wrong beforehand. I said we were going to win and how we're going to win. I didn't pretend about it. It wasn't like, oh my God, I was surprised. I was not surprised. I predicted it. I knew what we were doing. Number one. Number two, you may remember, I was one of the few people out there.
By the way, chat, the midterms were won by people who ran away from Joe Biden. Joe Biden barely campaigned for anyone because he was unpopular. So in other words, Democrats won because of women's backlash against the horrifying overturning of Roe v. Wade. They did it by talking about abortion and running away from Joe Biden. And Joe Biden takes credit. Like, he is manifestly insane.
Publicly saying before the 2022 election, there will be no red wave. There will be no red wave.
He lost the House, by the way. They still lost the House, by the way.
I've been all over the country. I didn't believe it at all. And then in 2023, the key elections, I went into those races. Not every one of them, but a lot of them. And I said we were going to win. Look, we won those. So, Joe, it wasn't just that it didn't happen. I was predicting beforehand it would not happen. Because I've got a pretty good political instinct and eye. And here's the deal. It's not going to happen here this time around. The American public is not going to move away from me as an average voter. And again, I'm here for two reasons, pal. One, to rebuild the economy for hardworking middle-class people, give everybody a shot. Just a straight shot. Everybody gets a fair chance. Number one. Number two, remember all this talk about how I don't have the black support? Come on, give me a break. Come with me. Watch. I'm getting so frustrated by the elites. Now, I'm not talking about you guys, but about the elites in the party who they know so much more. But any of these guys don't think I should run against me. Go ahead, announce the president. Challenge me at the convention. You know, on Europe, the polls are wrong in France. They're also right. There's no right wave or tide here in America either. By the way, in case you're wondering whether there is one, have you ever seen Trump run away so fast from what he's for? You know he's going to do it anyway. But he's such a liar. This guy, everybody knows what they're planning to do. And now he's saying, no.
Electric descending, David the tier 1.
This guy is going to rip away at a woman's right to choose in a permanent way. This guy is going to make sure that he exacts revenge. This guy's going to destroy democracy. This guy's going to give a blank check to the Supreme Court, and he's going to use it to pass the 2025 agenda. This guy's extremely dangerous. But you notice he doesn't speak up for what he really is for. He's all of a sudden realizing, oh my God, nobody's for what I'm for. But anyway, look, and again, think of the things he lied about. He talked about he gave the largest tax.
He's fucking senile, dude. He's completely fucking senile, dude. Like, legitimately senile. I don't know what to say.
Cut in history. Yeah, he gave the largest tax cut in history to millionaires and billionaires. He said that he's going to, those 10% universal tax proposal is not going to drive prices higher. Every major economist in the world is saying it's going to drive an average $2,500 per person. Only jobs we created for illegal immigrants and bounce back jobs and bounce back from COVID. Give me a break. That's what he said at the convention. At the debate. Everything he said. He said, he largely COVID.
He said, give me a break.
And what happened? What an
amazing debate counter.
Nobody said anything except me and the folks out there in the local.
It's no longer standing a pitfall. It's ignominious. This is our leader.
Yeah. Russia's invasion of Ukraine. In fact, he said, I think I encourage Russia.
By the way, chat, the invasion of Ukraine happened on your watch. The Ukrainian government has largely been humiliated. After initially successful defense of Ukraine, more and more of the country has been carved out by the Russian military. We've spent hundreds of billions of dollars, and the net effect was hundreds of thousands of dead on both sides and 25% of Ukraine under Russian occupation. What a fucking victory, man. What a fucking victory. Thank God we could all spend hundreds of billions of dollars killing a bunch of innocents and have Russia gain territory anyway. Great fucking job, man. What a pro. But hey, I guess he got Sweden and Finland in Norway and NATO. So that was the ultimate win. Thank God we got the population of Finland, which is what, 6 million? Or is it 4 million? Yeah, 5.5 million.
I encourage.
Thank God, guys.
I think he encouraged Russia going in.
Mobius Loop, thanks to the tier 1.
We're reading from the list of lies. First of all, he was made up quotes, suckers and losers. I was with it. He called Americans in the cemeteries from World War I suckers and losers. And so this guy's going to have to start to answer for what he did. I'm not letting up, Joe. I am not letting up a little bit. And by the way, France registered, look.
Toby, thank you for the 2-3.
France rejected extremism. Democrats will reject it.
What? I guess the left isn't extreme anymore. Huh, how about that?
Here as well. Trump, and, this is a guy who is an extreme candidate. I can't think of a candidate in my lifetime that's been more extreme. He makes George Wallace look like a patriot.
President Joe Biden, let's make this a thing. Thank you for calling in. We really appreciate it. And thank you for answering our questions.
If you're willing to hear from me, I'm willing to talk to you. Thank you very much.
We will take it on a regular basis.
All right. Thank you, Mr. President. Greatly appreciated.
President Joe Biden.
Hey there, MSNBC fans.
My favorite part of the interview was this.
Nobody said anything except me and the folks out there in the local, race. He said, I did nothing to stop Russia's invasion of Ukraine. In fact, he said, I think I encouraged Russia from going. I think he encouraged Russia going in. I'm reading from a list of lies. First of all, he was made up quote, suckers and losers.
I mean, Jesus fucking Christ, guys.
He called the Americans in the cemeteries from World War I suckers and losers.